Welcome back, everyone. If you are just waking up right now, welcome to the APAC zone. We started off our first series in the perfect APAC fashion. Now we are moving on to our second series between the Hangzhou Spark versus the Philadelphia Fusion. The Game 5 fashionistas themselves. They love these Game 5s. I mean...
I was going to say, I feel like Fusion fans don't want it to be an APAC Classic, because if it's an APAC Classic, they're bound for disappointment. And so let's try and get a move away from that fact. And hopefully Philly can come out here with a solid performance as well. In between the break, Avril has actually just updated their little power rankings, and Fusion are currently rated bottom. He says he's not trolling. Let's see if a 3-0 today can instill some confidence. Let's take a look at the Spark starting lineup for today.
Let's take a look here. We've seen some nice things here from the Spark previously, but we have some different finger guns joining us from the support lineup between Neko and Teru. See Shy, Alpha Yi, as well as Gushui. Alpha Yi also coming through. We saw him pop off earlier on in the Summer Showdown on that Genji. And I really enjoyed having Alpha Yi onto the Spark after having to deal with quarantine and really being able to pop off with the rest of the team with that lackluster practice that they had to have. But yeah, they have some new members to be working alongside with the rest of the Spark.
Yeah, Spark just constantly seems to be acquiring talent everywhere, and obviously Gushui is back into the mix this stage because Winston is viable. You can't just get deleted by Junker Queen now. But Philly Fusion fans, they're here to not disappoint you this week, and so they're going to hype you up even more. So they produced a little video for us to introduce their roster and go above and beyond in this clash to make sure that they perform actually well today.
Are you ready for the show?
Carpe again! And M3 is going absolutely nuclear! Zest dashes and instantly finds 3 kills. Leading the charge of his team application matrix as well, but Fury, excellent gravitic flood.
Spark had the numbers, but Bellisry has the space! The mine! The double kill!
Shot through Aim God. He's looking for the elimination. He goes on the offensive, but Aim God shuts him down! Everybody really low inside of the valley. Nixa gets 2 for himself. Okay.
There's your starting lineup for the Fusion. MN3, Zest, Bellows Rhea, and Aim God and Fixer, of course, in the roster. A lot of rookies on this talent. MN3 and Zest have been standouts this year. We're expecting more fantastic play from them as well, because as we saw in the last series, Vicky, Genji is still viable, and that seems to be Zest's favorite hero to play, and they're getting a lot of value from that.
Hopefully something that Fusion could work into after losing to the third best team, apparently, in APAC, the LA Valley, yesterday in a 3-2. So that was...
No, I'm actually I'm checking Avril's power rankings live right now, Vicky. It's actually putting the LA Valiant in second, so they lost to the second best team.
What? Avril. All right, Avril, I see you. You gotta get those interactions. I get it. But you know what? The LA Valiant put up a really good fight, and they also, despite what the score says, day one here, they put up a pretty good fight against the Dynasty despite it being 3-0. So that was a pretty tough fight for Philly to deal with. Now that they're going to be playing against the Spark, I feel like this is where they're going to test out where they probably feel more comfortable based off of what they've learned in that previous series against the LA Valiant.
And for the Spark as well, you've got, I think, a little bit more potential here with the meta, with some of the hero choice you're going to bring in. Neko and Teru into the roster as well. Fantastic to see them mixing it up once more. We've already touched on the Shy and Alpha Yi. They a little bit on comfort picks as well. Bellows Rhea coming back into the mixture as well, obviously because the tank lineups have completely changed and they're not relying on Fury to just play the Junker Queen. We're in for a good shout today.
I love seeing Philly always try to pop off in their own way with the rookies on their team. They're to try to come in together. I mean, they're like the destructive, chaotic team in APAC. They caused chaos just in the last stage in the Summer Showdown, where they literally took Seoul Dynasty to Game 5 during the qualifiers and then beat the Hangzhou Spark to qualify into the Summer Showdown. So this is kind of like a revenge match, if you want to call it so, against the Spark and the Fusion, because this was the opportunity that the Spark desperately needed in the Summer Showdown to be able to qualify in the tournament to get some of those extra points to make it into the playoffs. Meanwhile, here the Fusion were like, no, it's okay. You don't need that. We need that more than you. and they wanted to be able to try to take that. So now they're currently sitting number 4 in the overall standings on the cusp right behind the Spark.
Yeah, so there's all to play for right now as we head closer towards playoffs. Thinking about what this team will roll out with. Obviously, if we look at the compositions that we played earlier today, take those as an example. You know, we're going to definitely see Sojourn, Genji, that's fine. Could go for a Sombra option occasionally, I believe. Winston seemed likely based on the tank lineups, and probably going to have the standard Lucio Ana combination coming in from the pair of them, sometimes varying up to a Zenyatta, as we saw in the previous series, for very different reasons, but still has its place occasionally in this meta.
You know what we highlighted the series that the Fusion had to deal with yesterday. It's nice to also highlight the Spark and the fact that they had just recently lost to the Chengdu Hunters. Yeah, they're also just trying to feel out the support lineup that they're working with, as well as Gushwei managing to roll out. But can we highlight the fact that within the first, I think, was it 5 to 10 seconds that we saw Gushwei come out with Neko and Taro, he came out like on the Ryan. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of faith right here. He came in with the support lineup right next to him. I'm like, all right, APAC really is built different out here.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to bring, if they're going to change things up. Are we going to see that come out again? We've seen a plethora of different tanks out on the board, especially between both of these regions. So looking at what APAC has for us, we've been seeing a bit of that change up, of course. Saw the Zarya just recently. Saw the Pig Winston coming in too.
Yep.
A lot of ball we saw yesterday. Mikey just obviously making the appearance saying, I'm going to do this if APAC isn't.
We did get some ball in APAC. We did have a little bit of ball on
That's
Johnstown
true.
yesterday.
Very small.
But yeah, we're going to jump into our first map. It's a control map as always. Nepal seems to be our first destination. I was just checking in on the lobby as well. We have OBS Kiriko now on one of the OBS. So as you know, Kiriko not playable in this stage, but will be for the playoffs, as confirmed via Twitter. That was probably one of the senior staff at Overwatch League confirming that more likely. But yes, we'll have Kiriko playable in the playoffs. But everyone's getting a little bit excited about that option now, particularly the support lineups.
Makes me super excited. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome to see which of our support players are going to be able to pop off on Kiriko. Getting set up here already. Again, this is a nice little revenge match for the Spark to deal with the Fusion. Wondering what we're going to be able to roll out with immediately. What's changed up between yesterday into today for the Fusion, as well as the Spark after their performance 2 days ago. Let's see the basic here with, especially after what we had seen just in the last series, starting things off originally with the Mei. You wanted to have that double wall to kind of act as more of that space control. But it doesn't look like we're going to have that rolled out from the Spark. They're hinting at it ever so briefly.
Let's see what they go for on Sanctum anyway. Sombra Tracer seems to be the flavor that they're both rolling out for, so they're going to mirror it as expected. Winston's on the field, and we got the Brigittas and the Arnas for this particular round. Velas Rhea and the Philadelphia Fusion take that early corner. Gushwei forced to retreat already. Axe coming in. Shy jumps over the shoulder of MN3, not to get caught, but Alpha Yi is the first blood to be drawn. Hack. I believe that went through onto Gushwei, but he already started to jump back to safety to that point. Fusion have dominant control of this area so far.
Huge first pickoff right there too, especially with the way that Alpha Yi can pop off. That means Zest is already running rounds basically with this pulse bomb that's about to be unlocked here too, as well as the Fusion already stepping foot onto this point here. Alpha Yi gets hit with an anti, as well as Zest taking care of Shy. Trade that though, as Rhea is going to be able to get taken down. Zest going to be able to move all the way up here, but looking fantastic in terms of the Fusion, already building up into some of these ultimates, minus Bella's Rhea.
Got that pulse bomb, trying to lock him in the corner. Gets the recall out. There's enough mobility to get Alpha Yi out of that corner. Still unable to flip the point just yet. Reinforcements have come back in as Zest goes down to Alpha Yi's headshots, and Spark are still trying to wrestle back control, and they're getting enough picks to be able to do so. We're going to flip it, 31%.
Big anti from Teru, but no follow-up, unfortunately, with the Fusion holding on to the high right there on the choke point by the high ground. See the Spark already being able to take control over this point. You see the pulse bomb in hands of Alpha Yi. Gushwei is also about to get that primal, as well as Belas Rhea. He's taking their time here before moving their way in. You see Zest also trying to find that opportunity, splitting some of that attention away from Gushwei, but Gushwei is just going to be able to sit pretty here over to the side.
Alpha Yi being sneaky, but they're not going to path over. Still waiting for the right time for that pulse bomb. MN3 needs some healing drastically right now. We'll get the boost as the EMP's about to come online for them. Alpha Yi has a path into the back line. You can see the door being held. Fixer, hacked up. Get back. Nano boosted just to keep Fixer alive. Bella's sleeping. Anti finds them, and AimGod goes down. What is happening? Spark have control of this fight without a doubt. And they're just locking the big old monkey in the corner. Gushue will get that beat down, and now they'll migrate over to the point and just keep control of it. You can see Zest is still lingering. If they spot Zest out and force them away, they can't get back capped, which is what they're hoping to avoid.
They unleashed everything for that fight there too. You saw the pulse bomb trying to isolate AimGod over to the side. You saw a huge anti coming in from Turo. Now here comes the EMP. It's only found Gushue, but it does find that pick. A big pick here to allow the Fusion now move in. No space being denied from them this time around. As well as M3 trying to get into position with Zest here over to the side as Zest takes a quick little nap by Turo, who's been on point actually, not only with these antis, but also trying to put the rest of the Fusion to sleep here. Velasquez does isolate Nico in the process. Fixa does have that rally, but now they're going to be able to move all the way forward without burning anything more, and they're just going to be able to hold back. Very back and forth between these two teams already off in this first round.
Fusion should be able to match the percentage that comes in for the Spark before the next contest. Rally Pulse Bomb available for them. Goes a little bit farther away from getting that one online. Fusion should be able to win this fight quite handily if you just go off the ultimate economy. Where they split. Zest found two. Pulse Bomb has to breath away. Alpha Yi is going to chase him down further. Conflict's happening with the bubbles over on the high ground as Spark wants to take control of the steps. Hack cancelled out by the translocation as well, so it'll be muted. Zest is just looking to spray down, forces Shy out of the fight. There's Nano Boost over to Bella's Rhea. He's got the Pulse Bomb thrown onto Fixer, who ends the rally early. Nano Boost is given over to the Monkey, who's not been able to find the Primal Rage. We'll get that online shortly. Philly Fusion, 95%, and they're still winning the fight.
Oh no, they didn't get that impact that they wanted from the rally as overtime now is ticking away. They're going to be able to get that flip for the Spark here. Love how they didn't burn everything at the same time. They got that Nano Boost to allow Gushue to enable him to get some more of that extra space. Also take care of Fixa and then AimGod at the same time. So that's a support lineup just completely deleted from the Fusion here. They're going to have to go for a reset in this final fight territory now.
Got an eye on Zest. Shy's waiting. Been detected. Won't be stealth while trying to EMP. Instead goes for the gun down with the machine pistol. EMP's available. Going to use it to shut down the shields.
Huge EMP there. It's found 3, found Bella's Rhea. It's going to find MN3 and Zest. Zest managed to survive, but not the same could be said about MN3 and Bella's Rhea. Now Zest gets hacked on top of it all. Can't blink away here. And now the point secured in favor for the Spark. Nice answer back right there from Shy. The very end to actually deny that last minute push from the Fusion.
First round going over to the Spark. Let's see them close it out if they want to. Fusion had a great start. They kept it competitive during the round and fell apart at the end. Control maps tend to tell us very little about how the rest of the series will go unless it's a truly dominant smashing. See if we can find that in the follow-up maps. Symmetras give the TP advantage just to make sure people get to the point faster. I imagine Alpha Yi and Zest will probably migrate back over to the Traces as they did back on Sanctum.
Not expecting much change here coming in from both these teams. They're sticking to their guns here. Aside from just getting into that position up ahead. Spark wasting already no time to control this point. You can see Bella's Rhea just backing up just ever so slightly while the rest of the Fusion come in from the right side. Shy noting that though, some extra
intel. Spark took the most direct route to get to the point, and you saw Fusion opting to go for high ground first. Ultimately, he just dropped down low, and they go in for this first conflict on the point. Bella's Rhea needs to move. He's isolated himself from the rest of the team. We'll get that sustain. They need to hold the corner. Neko finds that first pick on the Fixer and opens it up.
That early skirmish that really didn't provide them that justice. They were just losing a lot of health in the process while the rest of the Spark just didn't need to move away from that point. Saw that Shy was in that little off position just to know where they were going to come from, and now he's cleaned up 2 members of the Fusion. Alpha Yi going to be able to move up into position, trying to stop AimGod, but he's going to back away, going to let them have it as Fixa's going to rejoice with him.
Time to build that map percentage up and play from the defensive position. Fusion trying to contest the high ground once more. They're going to run into the car wash that is Gujue's Tesla cannon. Pulse bomb for Alpha Yi as well. It's going to cause some serious headaches as they try and push through together.
Little shield dance that we're currently seeing right here. Alpha E now unleashing the pulse bomb. Doesn't get the stick. Can't find that pick up to aim gun that he's tried twice for now. Having to burn out the recall. Chu also getting hit with the anti while Shy finds MM3 denying the EMP charge away from him for that next fight. Zest does have that pulse while Bellisria is going to be able to get that nano boost, but while containing his control here over to the side while helping out his own survivability, Zest now finding Teru. Nice little turnaround here for the Fusion. They do trade that though for Fixa, and Zest is looking to pick up the pace real quick. Doucheway now still helping out the survivability, popping the primal, and look at this, they haven't even allowed the Fusion to touch one toe on this point yet. 55% and climbing in favor for the Spark.
Yeah, I think the problem they had there is, you know, when MN3 got decloaked, whether intentionally or not, he was isolated from the rest of the team. They were forced all the way back into that building you're just seeing on the left-hand side of your screen right now, unable to support him once he got locked down. So you're fighting a 4v5 at that point, and it was already going the wrong way. Now Shy's from the translocator, gets the hack onto the Mega, moves into position for an EMP. Zest can't rely on that Mega for healing, so will need his team to help him out or go further afield to find it. And you can see MN3 lurking in the back, gets the spray down to Teru. Immediate support from Bellisria to bring the kill. And then Primal Rages to kick the fight off and move on to the next target.
A huge priority target here too. Also EMP landing onto Fixa while Bellisria unleashes the Primal real quick here. MN3 has that EMP ready. Gonna be able to find Aim God. Alpha Yi going crazy over to the side room, finding both supports as the overtime is taking away in favor for the Spark. Alpha Yi's patience was able to actually pay off while he finally finds Aim God. And despite that EMP at the very end, there is no members left here for the Fusion to try to contest the rest of the Spark here, minus just MN3 himself, who's helped himself out a lot in terms of survivability.
Still alive for the time being. Giving over what they could. Bellisria moving over to the Doomfist. They're just cycling who's touching at the moment. Victory. Until that happens, MN3 and a Tracer in position to be able to do that. Spark walk away with the first map. I don't think that's a... Look, I'm not going to call that a C9 because it's not as if Fusion were in a position where they were going to win immediately off the back of that. That's not as critical as what we've seen earlier. But the Spark able to come out with a fantastic win. They draw first blood in the series, and Fusion fans more specifically will be left longing after that map.
Kind of much more of a scattered fights that we're seeing, very similar to our last series, just spread out a lot longer, these elongated fights at least. The priority targets, of course, being that back line here that currently see Alpha E having a little bit of trouble at the very beginning until the very end, as well as MN3 actually isolating Teru a few times as well. So some of these back and forths, though, going in favor with the Spark taking that very first map, and we do have that second map on the other side of this break for our last series of the day. Welcome back, everyone, to our second series of the day between the Spark versus the Fusion. The Spark now lead in terms of maps 1-0 versus the Fusion, and it did seem a little bit scattered at first. Their trade was going a bit back and forth between both these two teams, with the Spark seeming to keep themselves way more cohesive and together before we jump into the second map.
Yeah, we're looking at going to King's Row, but before we do that, we have a substitution. Fury will be coming in for Belazria. Fury obviously was the main tank in the lineup for the Summer Showdown, playing a lot of the Junker Queen. Not something we expect to see today, but of course Fury has been a dominant and proficient tank for so long, for such a long time in Overwatch League history. It's no surprise that they are making some adaptations to see if they can find some net wins here, Vicky, because I don't think they want to be at match point going into map number 3, not after yesterday's performance.
I'm glad that they're making this quick little swap up, though, to see what they could do differently here with Fury. I mean, he was an absolute pop-off here on the key for the Fusion, especially on that Junker Queen. I mean, I don't expect anything less from this vet himself, who's been able to pop off plenty of times with the rest of the Fusion, with the rest of the rookies that he's got to lead with. Spark, though, looking fantastic after that first map here. I'm wondering what they're going to do going into the second map, or if they're going to change anything, or if they're going to stick to their guns here, especially with the way that they were able to prioritize some of the back line of the Fusion.
The Sombra Tracer was working out well for them. Maybe they might try and switch over to the Genji at some point. I think that's really the only adaptation we might see coming in here from Spark. Other than that, they could surprise us. They could change up the composition altogether, but it currently is working for them. They are not under the pressure to change outside of any adaptations you would make for map geometry or just general setup of the map. Or Spark could force their hand and provide something extremely wacky that demands an answer. You know, Fusion might be able to just surprise them.
That'd be great, actually, especially depending on how the Fusion answer back. I mean, we saw what MN3 Sombra could do. We saw the survivability from MN3. Just really, the support wasn't there from MN3 to help out the rest of the Fusion, so maybe getting a little bit of that difference from the Philly Fusion going into the second map in combination with Fury getting put back into this roster like we've seen him before, especially in that last stage. Getting set up again, we are going to King's Row, which is going to have a lot of that verticality like we saw prior in our last series. So I'm excited to see how players like Shy is going to do here in this situation. And Shy, M3, are we going to see the Sombra still? Are we going to see a little bit of a swap off? I'm wondering.
Yeah, we'll get our answers very soon. Let's jump into the hybrid map, map number 2. It's in our last series of this week's edition of Countdown Cup for APAC, but of course, North America will be concluding later today as teams race to secure positioning in the upcoming playoffs. That for the time being, see what they roll out with. And okay, so on the defense, we're actually going to have to change over. So Neko going on to the Lucio, Shy onto the Sojourn, and Alfie onto the Genji. So this is more reminiscent of what I expect to see for the rest of the series outside of that first control map. We saw how the advantages can be played here from splitting the team, so you keep Shy away from the fight sometimes, being able to just abuse long sight lines if a dive comes in from the Fusion or any other opponent. So you can see them operating very separately for the time being. Because the big setup point is where you see that backline right now. Neko, Alpha Yi, and Teru just going to be waiting up on those upper platforms. Both Shy and Gooseway have options to join them if they need to in that fight, but they need to be able to contest them on point and on off angles.
I was looking to see what the Fusion we're going to officially roll out with here. Not really an option to force the Spark off of this high ground if they want to hold on to it here. Fury actually going over to the Zarya here. We'll be able to control some of that space, but it's going to help enable Zest to get into position instead to be that player to force and add in some extra pressure onto the Spark to make them reposition. Shy was in a nice little off angle here. Fury trying to call him out before Shy actually just repositions immediately over to the high ground.
Some pressure really coming for Gooseway, but he has been anti-naded, so they will trade Aim God for Gooseway in those fights. I know which one I'd rather have on when you're trying to hold the point. If it's going to be the one pick, you want to keep the tank alive. Fury now challenging map percentage. Zest in the face of Shy. There's going to have his eardrums blown out by Neko. Someone needs to get on the point and challenge. You nearly have Gooseway back to points. It's not dire yet. That's a lot of charge over to Fury to take into this next engagement.
Zest was trying to break some ankles real quick there on the support lineup. Didn't get to really do it in, as Teru does have that nano boost ready here too. Fury's going to be able to still stick onto this point, trying to get that second tick right there before the Spark try to re-engage. You see Gushui now getting into position. Teru needing to stay alive though, has that nano boost, but can't put it onto Gushui to help that survivability.
And immediately you see the teleport coming in from Zest as well, getting in the face of Teru after that. They have to donate the nano boost over to Alpha Yi, who has been slept.
Oh.
And the fusion have just dismantled Spark on that retake. Teru caught with his pants down there on the rotation as Gushui jumped into the fight. No sightlines available to be able to support at range. And he just drops immediately. And Teru getting picked off again by MN3 with the railgun.
And getting staggered here, while the rest of the Fusion are going to be able to move all the way up to control some of that extra space to allow that payload to just move along these next two corners without getting contested. MN3 is also just collecting heads like it's its collection real quick here, just making a statement. See, MN3 knows that Gushui is over there on the side. It's going to send out that disruptor shot just to let him know, like he knows, and back up just in time before they try to re-engage, because the payload is still moving along uncontestedly behind them.
Under pressure, even got the amplified healing, but Gushui hunted him down all the same. Ult's about to come online for Spark. Philly still have some options themselves. Grab, Death Blossom, Nano Boost given over to Zest. Getting into the middle of the fight, he pressed Q, Vicky! There's the Death Blossom! And they all die, they all fall over.
We saw it going down like the final domino of the chain reaction real quick. You saw the bubble put down at the Zest. You saw the nano boost getting put onto Zest as well. The Death Blossom getting unleashed. And this time around, it wasn't up in the air. It was not the Beyblade up in the skies that were going to be sent over from the side here. It was going to be Zest staying grounded here now, as MN3 is going to be able to also unleash the overclock. Trying to click away here as Gushui is going to go for a quick reposition. He took a lot of damage off that shot. He's going to back away in time. He's also got the Primal just in case he needs to go for a quick reset, but he's going to stay here to contest.
Gushui in spot, anti-naded, no bubble, disrupt shot on top of the grab. Go from Alpha Yi. Beat as well, it's reinvigorated on both sides. Good disengagement with the sound wave, and Alpha Yi retreats back up to the high ground. Great way of dealing with that blade from the Fusion.
They don't die here, Trid. The Fusion staying alive. The sound barrier from Fixa to help them out. Here comes a nano boost onto Alpha Yi. Already used up that blade earlier here today, and now Zest now trying to stay alive with MN3 getting dashed on though. Alpha Yi finding two, claiming two on this. The Spark gonna be able to restabilize here on this defense. Once they take care of Zest, the Fusion outnumbered. It's gonna have to be a reset for them, but a nice little stall here to allow the Spark to regain some momentum on their side before that second point was captured by the payload.
And finding Fury there at the end was vital. You need to shut down the energy they've accrued for themselves to make sure they're not a huge damage threat from the off in the fight. Just keeps them away from 100 and just means they're more of a tank and less of someone as a tank shredder. Paying attention to how things are developing. Angods are going to have that nano boost online as well. I feel like the Beyblade combo, sorry, the Death Blossom combo with the nano boost is probably going to be potent for them. Might not even need it if they can find Neko with some stray railgun shots like that though.
Oh. Don't hear Trid anymore real quick. Just diving right back into what we're seeing currently just in case here. Zest just finding two, going absolutely crazy. He's got the Death Blossom ready here as well. Finding another one with Neko going down. The rest of the Fusion now getting that complete wipe onto the Spark has now allowed Zest to feel himself. He's got the Death Blossom ready, and he's on the high ground waiting for the opportunity to just send it fully in. He doesn't got the nano boost this time around, but he does have Fury for that extra protection.
They don't know. Oh, they do know he's there now. The Tesla finds the connection. Gushui can't stay up here if he's having to deal with the Reaper solo. We'll just burn straight through him. Bubble given over as he drops down from the heavens with the Death Blossom. Finding two on the back line, forces them into the spawn room, and the payload has not had its brakes put on yet, Vicky. So now on the home stretch, ready to close out this round.
Ooh, Zest popped off so hard around the end right there, Trid, that it made your connection sour just a little bit here. As the Spark now are going to be able to roll out of the spawn room doors. Here comes a grab from Fury. Zest gonna get the follow-up, gonna be able to fight Teru, but here comes Alpha Yi with the blade to answer right back, finding two. Just trying to hold on for the defense of the Spark. Gushui now trickling in, as well as Neko coming in as well. The Fusion just trying to play back. Look at their backline, uncontested. Shy could get into position to actually change that up a bit, but MN3 is gonna be a threat that they have to make sure they completely downpack here. Shy's gonna be able to use a payload for some extra coverage, but Fury can't say the same as he gets taken down. Shy gonna be able to move all the way up with the rest of the Spark to control this next corner. And look at this, a minute and now 55 seconds on the clock for the Fusion to get that payload to the finish line.
Easy main is there for Shy. Just pops the overclock, has the sight lines, burns through Fury, and helps the rest of the team push onward and get them back. Spark were able to salvage a lot from that fight, not all of them going down, but eventually having to reset. Fury and the rest of the Philadelphia Fusion will now get themselves one of the front corners. Zest takes control of the high ground. AimGod has a nano boost available. MN3 removes Shy's head from his shoulders. And that makes it so much easier to walk in. Now Gouche jumps into the back line. Nano boost for Zest. He's chasing them down. Turns attention over to Alfie, though. He's much quicker to get rid of.
He's coming for Teru. He tried to do the little cheeky sidestep once again. He gets put to sleep, but gets woken up immediately afterwards. Shy still takes care of him, but they have to contest the payload. Can't just be Neku, as he's going to be able to actually go around the back. Gushway's going to meet him right back again. And the Spark come out on top in terms of the numbers. Even though you see Shy and Neku going down, it's fine. It's just really up to Fury that was left there at the very end. Now less than a minute at time for the Fusion to actually get to the point here. MN3 does have the overclock at the very least, as well as Fury about to get that grab.
I mean, look, you can trade for the Zarya, but then sliding into a Zarya with Bubble and a little bit of energy is risky even for me, and I'm sat down in plat, Vicky. Like, I don't know if I'd be doing that one, but Shy and the rest of the team have the confidence to still make it work. Teleport Bubble into the back. He should know where this is. He's revealed himself. Nice sleep. Zest is napping, but he's woken immediately. MN3 finds Alfie. The overclock working true. Need to find a few more targets to close this one out, though. Spawn advantages against them. Zest gets the bubble and the Death Blossom being used on the payload to clear some space. Neko, anti-heal, but now finding will be sustained by Teru before being dropped. Gouche turns his attention around to fix it before being dropped. Someone needs to deal with the Reaper, and it's finally going to be Shy as an option. Disruptor shot, Graviton Surge. Teru will get taken down. They burnt the time back to 6.4 seconds, but the Philadelphia Fusion will still complete King's Row.
The cleanup there from Zest with the Reaper to counter the Winston 2. Just having so much success. The bubble from the Zarya to put him into position. He got stuffed a few times, but he kept getting woken up over to the side. The Sandman was not doing his job at the very end. So Zest actually just getting away with that too for the rest of the Fusion. Limited time bank here on their hands to work with, though. The Spark were able to come up on those last two fights prior to the very final one. So the Spark were able to get their footing, especially with Alpha Yi just popping off. The Fusion were able to shut him down once they were able to get into that position where the payload was so close to that finish line.
Side switch comes into play. Fusion now jump on the defense. And Zest going over to the Genji for the defense, and not keeping with the Reaper for now. May bring that out in the later stages of this map if it gets that far. They're just confident in the fact they didn't finish in overtime. Buys them a little bit of an insurance policy should they fail to stop the Spark on their offense.
And take our time here, the Fusion. See Zest having some fun with the small health pack.
I count on you.
Show us his moves real quick. I'm going to be able to wait. Spraying a little spread out here. As you can see, they're just starting position right now with AimGod holding onto the high ground. Goushway's going to have no issue trying to boot them off, but it is going to be that split attention that's going to be an issue. Very similarly that we saw in that last map. Delphi just trying to take a cheeky shot before making the swap over to the Genji himself.
Yeah, that's kind of expected. Shy finds them in free, somehow. Not even with a headshot, just a body shot after some spray, I imagine. Doing it natty. Forcing the sports away. AimGod's gone down. There's a lot of shuriken dinks we had from Alpha Yi. We're just able to close this out and force them into the back line. Try and get Fury away from the high ground. Should be easily done here. I think this is quite clean from the Spark. They're going to be able to get point A on their first attempt and get it in motion.
So quick with that, too. I mean, we were talking about the high ground splitting up some of that attention. I love the follow-ups that we saw between Goushway and Alpha Yi. Essentially sandwiching the Fusion. Also, that first pick absolutely helped them out onto MM3. Now with getting this payload out of the garage, so much time in the time bank to work with here. You see Neko already getting into position. Have Gouche right next to him, holding his hand real quick. At this next choke point, they're not going to be able to control all the space that we saw the Fusion control on their attack here. They want to go for more of those staggered kills. They want to be able to at least try to hold this choke point. The Fusion are going to have a much better time, at least when it comes to the defense on the second point.
Break through that arch. Nearly. Zest Reaper is going to make this difficult for them. Has to Back away, turns attention to Gushui, who escapes after being anti-nade. Good thing he had the boosters on cooldown. TP from Zest into the back line. Fury gives him a bubble to make sure he can regroup. Wants to turn his attention to Gushui, can't get up to the high ground. A little bit out of range to have the full impact, and Aim God's been picked off. Just stall for time. Make him chase you, and then Shy can do the magic for you and find these picks. No one helping you out. Gushui's caught behind enemy lines, and now they're just running in your back line instead.
Zest coming right back into the action, saying, you know what, Shy, you can see this day, but now Gushui is going to be able to take care of you after cleaning up the rest of the payload with Alpha Yi. I like the intention of the Fusion, try to split up that attention with Zest, just try to go into the back line, but Shy with these initial picks have just been so impactful for the rest of the Spark. Now they're going to be able to move up, control that next space that we were talking about before. The Fusion are going to try to roll in. They're about to get the Death Blossom ready, as well as the grab and the Nano Boost.
Already outside the door of point C as well, so good progress being made. Nano Boost given over to Zest. Climbing up towards that Death Blossom, I imagine. It's a couple more percentage. And Spark are playing very split. They're not trying to contest this one, but they will have to go and jump onto the payload, and that will put them in range of a Death Blossoming. Oh, okay, well maybe not if Zest is off the field altogether. Grab comes out as a passing gift from Fury, but there's too much damage provided to the Fusion already. Point C, claimed by Spark in a much faster fashion. They have a substantially larger time bank to work with moving into the final section of the map.
Oh, Shy stared down at that grab and still was cleaning all of the Fusion heads real quick while Alpha E cleaned up on aisle 3. Gushui backing up just so slightly. He's got the Primal ready for that reset just in case. Fusion didn't even have the opportunity to use that Death Blossom. They're going to have to need it for this next corner. Trying to get us into position, trying to also boost up some more of that extra damage for Fury with that bubble. Where he comes up to the back line, he's found Zero. He's going to be able to claim that first pick here on the Death Blossom. It's all he can get as before he backs away in time. He'd possibly try to find Gushui before the reset, but he can't do it just in time. Reset comes in, and now you see the sound barrier from Bigsa from the rest of the Fusion. Try to match shot with Nico here from the Spark. Try to help out their survivability, but Gushui can't say the same. Zest has just been on top of him and got put into position thanks to Fixa and that speed boost.
Yeah, big assault there from Fusion to capitalize on that early pick. Gets themselves in the spot. Spark throws a bunch of ultimates into the mix, Sound Barrier and Primal Rage as well to try and stabilize, maybe kind of counter and see if they can wait for the reinforcements to come back. Wasn't meant to be, so it just ended up being a little bit expensive for what they actually gained back. Still plenty of time to work with here. 3 minutes and 50. Blade available for Alpha Yi. Quick, easy picks coming in. They just need to be mindful of Fury's barriers that will mitigate that altogether.
We got the Blade ready here from Alpha Yi. Try to come in from the heavens, potentially. Ooh, nice little ding onto Zest. Nano Boost coming online for Zest. Is going to be able to hold 4 onto the Spark, trying to find Gushui. He gets shut down immediately by Shy again. On point with these picks. Fury falls incredibly low. He can't survive as Nico's going to be able to find him. Jumping right on top of MN3 though, as he's going to be able to back away with the rest of the Fusion. They've lost out already on 2, so they need to actually try to reset, but Gushui is not going to let them. So much extra space here in terms of Spark.
They're crumbling a little bit here now, Vicky. 3 minutes left on the clock. They just need to get over the line. They've got a big combo in the Dragon Blade that could cut down the rush that comes out of the spawn. Fury's grab needs to be elite to do it, but they've lost MN3. Grab just finding Shy. Gushui's taking a nap. Neko comes with a clearance. They will take down Alpha Yi after the blade expires. Gushui still going strong though, but he's without support now. They've just lost to Lucio. Not going to be able to get it over the line this time, Vicky. They're going to have to try another attempt.
There's a 3-for-3 though pick-off here between both sides. And it's the Fusion that holds this defense. They're going to be able to hold back the Spark, but they have so much time to work with too, Trid. 2 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. Fury's going to be able to back up, restabilize. Zest is about to get another Death Blossom on top of this.
Big options available for them. Death Blossom should definitely get them on the payload. Oh! Shy can't get away with that. Sleep immediately woken up by Fury, can't escape. It's MN3 to trade it out. 2 for 1 so far in favor of the Spark. Low HP bars across the board for them. Neko holding onto the sound barrier just to get Gushui and Alpha Yi there. They think they can do it. I mean, that might have been an overcommit for the Spark. They're right outside the spawn room. They're never going to be able to reinforce fast enough to keep that fight going.
CM3 coming right back around here too. Again, still has that Death Blossom. Fury's about to get the grab, which is really good news here for the Fusion on their defense. They did lose out on Fixa a little bit early there, but he's going to come right back in, building up into that Transcendence. That pick onto Fixa would be a huge deal for the Spark if they can manage to get that. Gushue taking a quick little nap, wasting even more time away from the overall time bank to 1 minute and 20 seconds. And 3 ultimates for the Fusion to work with right now, 4 when you count MM3 in.
What's the options available? Dragon Blade, big one for Spark still. It worked for him last time, try and break through. Shy's been fantastic at finding picks as well. That could also be an opener. Any Nano Blade combo that comes through, Fix is going to have to deal with. So they have to find something to force that out a little bit earlier. If they have any hope of breaching through. Keeping a lot of attention by constantly pinging Fury. They want to know where Fury is.
And keeping track of it, you see the Nano Blade just trying to be contested here at the same time. Now Alpha Yi's going to be able to unleash it while Gushue is taking a nap real quick. MN3 shooting him down. Alpha Yi nowhere in sight to get any impact with that blade. The Spark getting held back with less than 30 seconds on the clock, although Gushue and Shy still finding these individual picks. No DPS lineup still standing for the Fusion, while the desperate swaps are coming in from Zest, going over to the Genji, but it's okay. Fury has the grab. Fury can keep everybody at bay. Despite the Disruptor shot coming in, you see Fury holding forward, getting even more of that extra charge while he's beaming down the competition. Now he's going to also have that Nano boost originally, but Ingod gets taken down, so Fury's going to be able to back away in time before the time bank gets taken away. Overtime needs to be forced out by the Spark.
Yeah, they need to kill Zest. Good tag there. Overclock. Fix it. You can find him. That'd be really useful here. There's no ultimates in the tank for the Philadelphia Fusion. Overtime has been triggered. They've lost Gushue. They need to stall without their tank, without the HP pool, but they keep losing members. Fusion, they've dug their heels in. Shy keeps finding picks. He needs to find more of the Spark are able to hold out long enough to get Gushue back in position. Nano boost over to Neko with the rally. They've got some survivability. Here comes Gushue over the top to be able to get back in. Aim God shut down, bashed into the corner. Overtime's in effect. They can still have another attempt if they get it over the line. They need to clear out Zest. And they got Fury in the corner. 100 charge. He burns through him, drops the grab as well. And there's a step off for the Spark as the Fusion will equalize the series.
Too much pressure coming out here. The Spark falling down with Fusion. Going to be able to split up their attention at the very end right there. Looked really scary for them, though, at the very end with Gushue just jumping in. You saw Nico was actually nano boosted, activated the rally, still got annihilated by MM3, but the Fusion coming in with Zest on this Reaper, getting a lot of progress with Fury being on this Zarya.
Yeah, nice little upgrade for them. They're playing well at the moment with it. 1 apiece after 2 maps. Still not entirely decisive either way at this point, Vicky. I feel as though Spark, maybe a slight alteration in some of the fights, could be able to win out with that map there. It's definitely still a close series in mind. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have a push map waiting for you. An escort map, sorry. My apologies.
Welcome back, everyone, to our second series here in APAC. We got a tied series on our hands between the Spark and the Fusion. Fusion making some adjustments, not only to their tank lineup, but the way that they were able to adjust right back around to Spark.
100%, and it led them to winning quite a closely contested match of King's Row. I wouldn't say it's quite dominant either way at this stage of the series yet, Vicky. But they were able to get themselves a dub in the end. We can see Bella's coming back in for Fury, so no doubt they're probably going to want to go for more of the Winston flavor, more so than the Zarya flavor we've been seeing. That seems to be the indicator of which tank's coming in. I did like the Zarya version of the Philadelphia Fusion, definitely was performing a little bit better, but of course our next map destination may be a factor in that decision making.
Yeah, honestly, we did see Fury build up that grab really quick at the very end there. I was really impressed, but we are going to see a change up from the Fusion. Bella's coming right back in as we get set up to jump into map number 3. It's going to be Dorado, our escort map here, to see what we're going to do. In terms of the sightlines that we've already been witnessing on King's Row Trade, do you expect any change-ups from these teams?
Not particularly in terms of compositions. I mean, the Sojourn's probably going to be a solid option for them here on Dorado, I imagine. Genji, verticality still the same, so damage lineup should be quite similar, I imagine. I think we're probably going to end up seeing the Lucio and the Ana quite a lot, but of course that might change sometimes into the Brigitte Ana instead. Ana seems to be quite a staple mainstay so far in this meta.
Saying here what we're going to open up with as our players just get ready, get settled up in here. Again, 1-1 apiece between both of these teams. Moving on to this third map, though, like you mentioned before, Trid, I feel like there hasn't been like that one dominating side to really determine where that momentum is going to be shifting first. It's kind of been passed on the same, even in that initial fight where the Fusion were able to get that point moving real quick. Just the way that they've been able to approach not just King's Row, but having to play around the space from the Spark, trying to take their time, maybe taking too much of their time. I'm wondering if we're going to try to kick things up a bit here as we get started on Dorado.
So yeah, we saw a lot of Dorado in the last stage, Vicky. So with this map in particular, the early control around those first houses, red and yellow, tend to be quite a time sink for a lot of teams to break through, especially if you can have things like a Sojourn and the Genji up in the rooftops as well to really provide that pick damage and shut things down. The extra vertical mobility that comes in with Winston makes those positions harder to attain sometimes, or harder to retain more accurately. It doesn't necessarily mean it's impossible to do so. Expecting a lot of abuse of the high ground and the multi-layered areas that come into Dorado in this upcoming map.
Especially with Bella's coming right back in. Don't let that deceive you. I'll never take the bait again. Spark are going to be able to roll out with exactly what we see here. Shy, no surprise, going onto the Sojourn. You have a lot of those open sight lines, especially when you're on that high ground. Like you said, getting booted off that high ground is going to be important here. Looking at the way that Gushue and Bella's is going to try to approach that. Would it be surprised, actually, if we do see the Sigma? Just because it is escort. We're going to have to wonder here. Again, not going to get baited. Fusion just going to get set up because they want to be able to get onto the high ground immediately afterwards. I know. It always happens anyways. But it's nice to be able to talk about with the way that these tanks have been trying to roll out with what they feel comfortable with. We are still seeing the Pride and True M3 Sombra as well as the Zest Genji.
Yeah, I mean, that is a massive... There's so much pick potential on that team. If you were to bring that up, I think Zest is just going to go for the harassing of Gooseway for the time being. Terror's relatively safe up here, all the way back away from the action. That is until M3 goes for the sneak up on them. Gets the information, finds out where they all are. Probably going to turn the attention to Gooseway, but he just dips over on the rooftop to make sure the hack can go through. And now turn their attention, they're going on the offense now.
Hello, M3 try to just turn around, get away from that situation. Shy nails down Bella's though. Nice pick off here for the Spark. Well, the rest of the Fusion are just going to have to take their time, recuperate right in front of their spawn room doors. Shy not getting booted, though, off of this high ground already. Getting that first pick is a big deal, though, because this is even more time and space that they're going to be able to establish for themselves already early on in Dorado.
Still holding the line for the time being. There's Bellaria diving into the back. M3 parts the high ground as well, no doubt. Winston's going to be joining him shortly. He's taking a nap on the ground as Teru finds Fixer. There's just one pick fight to keep happening here, Vicky.
Oh, man.
Oh, so beaten, battered, bruised, 95 HP, still jumps over the house and gets back to safety. Fusion keep losing members on the peripherals of this main tank fight that keeps on happening.
No rest here for Gushue. Managed to come right back in, get fully resustained. Those Reyes going to try to contest him. Some help, though, from Zess. Try to help him out just a little bit before they drop right back down from the high ground. Like you said, it's like those single picks that we keep seeing. So close to finding that pick, though, onto Shy. It's not going to work out well. He manages to turn around immediately and claim Zess for even trying to boot him off the high ground. Alpha E's positioning here, too, is just forcing the Fusion to be in this canyon of the Spark where they have to split up both of their attention, and it's really up to Velasquez to determine where he wants to focus down, who he wants to boot off from the high ground, who's going to be able to get out of there.
They just haven't been able to successfully dislodge Gushue. And look at that. You jump up to where Alpha is. He dashes across the reinforcements of the Winston. Then they find Aim God on the back. They are hunting the Fusion right now, Vicky. They are hunting them down one by one, dismantling. Thank the Lords that they're able to get that underneath the arch and get it into market to maybe move the objective further behind. Because if they were caught, like you referred to it as this canyon, I wouldn't see them getting much further.
This is crazy with the way that Gushue is going to be able to not only hold this high ground, but look at this three-way split. See Alpha E on the yellow building, Gushue over on the red building, and then you have Shy that's been putting in so much pressure with the open sight line on the Sojourn that is actually forcing the Fusion to take a different route, maybe try to split some of that attention on the back line if they can. MN3 wanting to rack up some more of that EMP if you get a chance with a pole bomb stick. Wow, onto Aim God. They trade that though with Zess, finding an opportunity finally onto the backline, taking away the sustainability that Spark needed to maintain the positioning that they've had on the high ground here.
Gushue can buy a little bit of time for the reinforcements to come in and stop the payload from getting too deep into the market phase. Alpha E is with them as well, so there is still kill potential. Zess goes out the safety of the bubble. They're on the hunt for Alpha Yi. Don't know what resources they have left to be able to escape, but they can't die here if the team wants to have a coordinated fight in market. But as Rhea going to find Alpha Yi, so it's not good. 4v5 for the time being. They still have the chance to have one more fight in the market before allowing Fusion to have point A, but Gushue gets knocked down. They trade 1-for-1 so far. Rally for Fixer, they're throwing all the ultimates in. Neko's also doing the same. Primal Rage available for Bella's Rhea. This is all about stall until Big Daddy Gushue gets back with the Primal Rage. Excellent sleep dart. Shuts down the Winston. Stall, stall, stall. That's the name of the game right now.
Less than 10 seconds and ticking away here. Spark though are falling like flies. No support here to help back them up. Zess falling incredibly low. He's going to try to go over to the other side despite the Disruptor shot. Finding Belisria here. Overtime ticking away. They need to take care of Gushue, who has stayed on this point the whole time. Gushue having such a big impact here alone at the very beginning. They finally claim him, and they finally are going to be able to get that first point. But look at that time bank. They were so limited at the very end there.
Yeah, they just get the minimum available time back from moving on to point B. A lot of control will now focus around to the courthouse and who gets the control of that high ground. Shy having to hold it alone for the time being at range, not too worried about what Zess can do. Blade is available for the big man. Aim God's about to get the nano boost to support it as well. They can clear them away from this area altogether, or they can just remove this fight for the courthouse high ground, and they can make it go into the actual final section, but Shy is able to find Fixer again. Still going to commit the Nano Blade.
Oh,
Terry,
wow.
Mega. Bella's Rhea also jumping in this time as well.
Zess fighting that pick here. No Nano Boost in favor for the Spark here. Belisria now backing up so slightly. He needs to be able to get away. Manages to actually replenish that health before diving right back in. You see the Disruptor shot over by the side. Alpha Yeast got the pulse bomb. He's getting ready, trying to isolate the backline real quick. If he could have that opportunity, I mean, he is on the high ground here. He's just trying to be able to find an angle if he can. See, Tero still has that nano boost that he's waiting to use here. Trying to poke out just briefly in the entryway to see if maybe he could put it onto somebody here. Alpha's the one that's up on the high ground real quick. Here comes the EMP from MN3. He saw Teru just trying to sneak along, but they shut him down immediately. Love the patience for the Spark. Almost like they were expecting MN3 to actually move in with that EMP. Great timing on that. Alpha Yi now still up with that pulse bomb, waiting for the opportunity with less than a minute on the clock tread.
Yeah, great reaction there from Teru. The EMP comes in, immediately puts himself between, puts a wall between him and MN3. Gets the call from Neko to come over and assist. Both of them survive it and push back MN3's assault. Keep Teru alive, and that nano boost is an available option for Spark in this next fight. 30 seconds remaining. Fusion don't have anything in the bag so far. Bella's Rhea is the closest. After he has another pulse bomb, recalls himself up to safety. MN3 should go down here, I hope. Nano boost. passed over, given over to Shy with the overclock. Not connecting any of these shots at present, but he's clearing a lot of space. Great recall from MN3, keeps him alive. Bolt's thrown in there, Vicky. Not much to show for it right now.
So 5 seconds are ticking away. They got to try to touch this point here. I mean, it's going to be MM3, Bellisrayo to join him, but he's taking a quick nap, and he gets deleted immediately. Won't even be able to activate the Primal. Overtime ticking away, now burning away for the Fusion. They managed to actually touch it. It's going to be Zest. He's got the play, but he's got to avoid Nico. He's got the rally activated. He's got the shield bash to stop him in his boots, but it's going to be Shy instead to shoot him out of the sky. They're going to be trading that Alpha E going down, MM3 as well as 2 members out for the Fusion. No DPS left, and Fixa is going to have that nano boost from Aim God. Bellisrayo is going to be able to come right back in, but he's got to deal with Gushui. Very similar to the fight that we just saw to get that first point originally here. Now we're seeing some of these extra trades coming in too, and Nico falling down.
So overtime fight's really brutal for the Fusion. Playing one of the furthest points away from their spawn. Reinforcements coming so much faster for the Spark. Longer this goes on, the closer they're getting it to ults. Alpha E will get a pulse bomb in his next fight. Teru also has the nano boost. MN3 really needs to work on that EMP if they're going to have a chance of winning out the fight.
He's trying his best here. He's about to get it soon. The rally now to help keep the Fusion up in this fight. EMP still climbing here. Alpha E unleashes the pulse bomb, doesn't find that pick, but Fixa goes down with the rally in hand. Here comes MM3 with the EMP. Huge EMP! It's found 4. Gushui gets taken down, and anti-hits onto Neko, and you have Teru, who not only gets slept, but gets hacked at the same time after that again. The entire point getting cleared up by the Spark. Not enough of that EMP could really do much here to deal with the Spark, as the Fusion gets stopped right before that second point.
Sizable distance. It's good effort for them to be able to defend against. What a brutal defense the Spark had, though, on point A in particular. Like, just in the initial parts of point A before you get into the market. Unreal to stagger that much time against the Fusion, just constantly keeping them guessing where the angles of attack were going to be from. Hopefully it means they have a solid game plan on the point A as well to be able to just play around the advantage that they abuse themselves.
Man, no follow from that EMP originally there too. MM3 had found 4, I believe it was. Siru managed to survive, not only out of the EMP, but also after being slept here too. Fusion had their backs against the wall at the very end right there. The Spark are going to be the ones on the attack this time around. No changes coming in here. MM3 still sticking to the Sombra.
You can see the framework gets set up. How are they positioning on these rooftops? At the moment, they're just leaving Zest on the Sombra up there. I imagine that you're going to send Bella's rear as the main point to hold that down, same way Gushui did. MN3 Sombra is a different spanner in the works, though. A lot of hacks, and they probably might play a little bit more aggressively and take the fight to Spark more than what we saw Spark do, rather than being reactionary. There's the information. Sneaking behind Teru.
Gets the hack and gets the dive and gets the pick onto Teru. Gushui immediately tried to retaliate, but just was 1 second too late to react right there. Being so close to the spawn room doors too, but amazing follow-up that you saw from Bellisrayo. The rest of the Fusion now are going to be able to back away after getting that pick and try to reposition, but they don't have the ability to have that Sojourn with those sight lines that we saw the Spark really utilize when they were the ones on the defense.
And the Payload's locked in a pretty similar position as well. MN3 just waiting, getting the intel, choosing the target. Shy with the flip. Knew it was coming. Get over 180, spray down, decloaks the Sombra and keeps themselves safe. Meanwhile, the skirmish continues on the main point. You can see Neko unable to escape from that one as Zest has the rundown, so Fusion's still able to find the picks the same way Spark were able to.
Zest on the high ground real quick, sharing that rooftop with Bellisrayo. See Gushui trying to wrap around that corner. Already used up that bubble. Aim God holding the other side of that sight line, though. Only the Sojourn. They got Aim God right there here. And MM3 splitting up the attention, finding Gushui with the quick hack. But Gushui gets to survive to right there. About to get the nano boost. That nano boost is going to help out not only with the survivability of Gushui, but also to try to clear up some of the extra space on the higher ground, because they're not getting contested on the payload as they go underneath that bridge next.
Nano boost over to Bellisrayo. Pulse bomb into the mix, doesn't find a kill. Primal Rage available as well. Tries a railgun shot. Gushui takes cover. Needs some healing desperately, but there's the spray down. He's trying to find him. Stays alive still, even though Zest is in there in the mid trying to find him as well. Alpha Yi's Pulse Bomb. Could be the burst, needs the breakthrough. Goes for the headshots, recalls back to safety. Keep an eye on where the Primal Winston now lies in the middle of the fight. Slams Teru. Fusion, a burn in this time back down. 1 minute 50 remains.
And Nick also gets hit with that anti. The both of the back line gets deleted here. No supports left for the Spark while the Fusion go in for the reset back on the high ground. The follow-ups between Zest, Evan3, and Balestria is beautiful. They've been splitting the Spark up left to right, literally. Zest real quick with the recall, says nobody saw that. I'm getting right back to safety and is about to get that pulse bomb ready.
I saw that. Everyone saw that, Vicky. We all saw him step off the edge of the map.
We've seen a few of those already. Diving right back in there, we do have the pulse bomb for Alpha Yi.
Pulse bomb, yeah, like you said. MN3 has that EMP as well. Ooh, he's getting slammed. Use the EMP instead of the hack just to relieve that pressure and get Gushui away from them. More than that, unfortunately. Rallying Neko running into the fight. It's really hard for him to deal with this. Belazria surviving with an inch of his life. Still alive. Desperately needs healing from Aim God or Thick, so I have no idea where that giant monkey is. Now he's back in the mix. Nanaboo's given over, punches onto Teru, needs to reload his gun. That's the saving grace for Teru right now. Buys more time, but they brought in the reinforcements. Here comes Tracer. Zest able to spray them down. Helps with the assist. Trading back and forth still. Payload kept in motion. 25 seconds remaining as they're into the latter stages of point A.
Teru's running for his life there. Balestria now having the Primal ready to engage here. Zest finds Neku at the same time. Gushui going down next here. The Fusion on this defense, looking to contain the Spark way before they were going to be able to get held up themselves right before that second point. Getting a little bit taste of their own medicine. Nice pulse bomb stick onto Alpha Yi, but he was too close. Getting ate up by his own pulse bomb. Couldn't touch the payload to force it into overtime here. And the Fusion now take our next map. It's going to be 2-1 in favor for the Fusion, and they're going to be sitting at match point trade.
Even if Alpha Yi, like, didn't eat his own pulse bomb and die, or like get damaged by it and then get picked off by Fusion, he was not in position to touch the car anyway. No one in Fusion was in position to touch the car. Only person who could have done it is Alpha Yi, yet he's skirmishing off the point right now. Maybe a miscommunication on the urgency that was required to get to the point, or a miscalculation on how close they were, but there was no viable option for Spark to keep that map alive.
Yeah, I was expecting Alpha Yi to try to move in, and then we saw that pulse bomb pick over to in the kill feed, despite him even going down to it. Quite unfortunate right there for the Spark, but the Fusion, they take it. They fully hold them back before they even get the chance to get that first point on Dorado. We're going to be moving on to map number 4 on the other side of this break. Let's see if the Fusion could try to take it home this time. Welcome back, everyone. The Fusion currently sit at match point versus the Spark in what seems to be a bit of scrambles all happening all over the place on different sides of the map right now, Trid.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scramble. It's a little bit scrappy, so to speak, kind of reminiscent of what we saw yesterday as well, where you just have 1v1s, 2v2s, dynamic fights all over the map. Not really cohesive again, and giving you a quick little roster update, Fury is coming in for Zarya, so it does probably mean we're going to get more of that Fury Zarya, which was so impactful to their win on King's Row. Hopefully, it's going to allow the Philadelphia Fusion to close the series out 3-1 and instill some confidence back in their fan base, because they are at match point now as we look towards our next map type, which is going to be a push map.
I like this on and off swap off from the Fusion real quick. While we are going to be going on to Coliseum for our 4th map to get set up, bringing in Fury has allowed them to change up their comp, allowing the Zarya to get enabled. Saw the Doom at one point here, so it's going to be nice to see how they're going to be able to try to play into this.
Yeah, I'd love to see the adaptations that come in across the series. You know, we see only very minor ones in this series. I would say it's fairly stable, with the MN3 Sombra being a factor. Zest seems to be having fun on both the Tracer and the Genji, but Shy and Alfie are pretty standard doing.
Or rather, I meant the Reaper originally right there. Yeah, the Reaper is what I meant to say. Yeah, the Zarya and the Reaper. Yeah, I thought my brain went, huh. Overwatch 1. But no, I'm talking about the Reaper real quick from what we had seen already from the Fusion and the Zarya coming out originally. Going on to Coliseum, though, I can expect that with especially the very beginning with the push bot, trying to find who gets that first pick is so important, but you are in that close quarter fight where there is a lot of brawling going down.
Well, the rollouts will be happening shortly. The streets at Coliseum. Really think we're going to expect to see that Zarya because Fury's in the mix, but other than that, it's just deviations to the same composition that comes out. Backlines have changed quite a lot. We've seen the Zenyatta coming through a few times as well. I more think the Spark roster is more reminiscent of what we may see on this round, more so than Philly right now. I feel Zest and Fury doing a bit of smidgen of trolling. Perhaps. But the Alpha Yi Reaper is an option, I believe. They haven't played it in this series so far, but Gushwei Winston sounds about right. And there it is, the Alpha Yi Genji instead. So it's comfort picks across the board for the Hangzhou Spark, I feel like, and the Philadelphia Fusion opting for the Zest Reaper with the Fury Zarya blend they've been rolling out on King's Row.
And this is what we were expecting here originally from the Fusion. Once we saw that Fury was moved right back in onto this roster for their match point map here. Spark trying to play around both of these sides of the wall. You see Zest now getting into position, taking a little bit of damage at the same time, but this is that skirmish that we usually always get to see here on the beginning of Coliseum.
It's all about who gets the first decisive fight win here to start building that early pressure. MN3 under the cosh. Zest getting out with their life as well. Philly pushed back so far in that first fight. They just have to give up a lot of space, but they're not out of the fight yet. They will return the bot to the middle and start working on these ultimates. But MN3 with a pick on the Gushwei. That's really bad for the Spark. They're going to lose control early. And you can see they're in full retreat, wanting to regroup and stop this. So they can lose the battle, but not the war.
Amazing progress, though, for the Fusion to be able to get that pick off first. The comms going crazy for Zest just to let MN3 know that Gushwei was already low to get that follow-up, to not let him get away out of that corner when he could just jump out of there. Now the rest of the Spark were forced to back up just a little bit, trying to control some of that high ground here, while Shy getting just pinged up a little bit by AimGod, who's about to get that nano boost online.
Yeah, Zest probably the recipient of that one. Some safety for AimGod. Gushwei's there. Oh. Picked up, didn't know where to look in the end. Lots of crossfire focusing onto the Ana. Drops out that big healing element from the team. Nanobu's given over to Gushwei. Spark really putting resources into an offensive right now. Win the fight, then move the bot. Zero progress being made so far as Gushwei picks the second kill of that fight for himself. Fury building up some charge, doesn't have some healing, wants to try and pick up some stragglers. He will end up going down and loses all the energy they built for themselves. Finally, Spark can get some progress on the board.
And look how hard Spark had to work just to be able to get this bot moving in their favor. They had to use so much with that nano boost to keep Guxue alive just because of how the beginning of this map just went down with the Fusion getting that first initial pick onto Guxue, who's now taking a nap real quick. Zest already moving in onto his position. Guxue manages to fall back a bit here, and now the ultimates are online for the Spark to deal with, but the Fusion and their backline need to be able to retaliate back. M3 is also about to get that overclock down the sight line.
They approach this one. Zest holding himself in the corner. Overclock available. If you go long, you get shot by the overclock. If you go short, you get blown up by the Death Blossom. How do you play this one, Spark? You got a long range and a short range damage ultimate that's going to cut through AoE quite easily. MN3 taking those shots. They're trading them with the overclocks. Takes Neko out of the sky. Won't be bringing their sound barrier to the fight. Nice sleep dart there from Teru to stem the bleeding. Ultimately, not going to be able to shut it down. Great evasive skills and a cleanse coming in from the barrier as well to keep the anti-kill in there. Alfie finds Fixer with knowing that there's no sound barrier to save him. Great shutdown there from MN3. Spot has not moved more than 31 meters in either direction, and we've nearly burnt half the time bank of the map.
But now you have to unleash the Death Blossom though while you're at it, but the Dome is not going to let Zest get any progress. Guxue sitting him down real quick with some help from Shy. Here comes the grab though for Fear before he gets taken down, and the Fusion maybe had different plans here. Yeah, it's going back and forth, but the numbers are in favor for the Spark currently. Guxue's going to be able to come right back in with the Primal. Shy though went up with the sleep and deleted.
Engel just sprints at them with a tranquilizer gun, shuts them down. Teru follows up as well afterwards, but they've lost their life. Keeping it nice and tight and competitive on Colosseo so far.
Look at this. Look at where the bot has gone. How it's gone so back and forth. It's like a seesaw. Looking at both Fusions and Spark and the way they've been able to get this progress. Get that charged up. Railgun real quick here from MN3. Knowing very well, don't point it in Alpha Yi. You saw that deep coming in immediately.
Yeah, to pivot charge, change target quite quickly, still alive. Let's have a look at the ultimates for the Spark. They have the sound barrier and the primal rage. Guxue should be unkillable in this next fight, provided it doesn't provided it doesn't outlast those survival ultimates. Overclock being used. Fury gets that nano boost. Teru's found by Zest. That's a very expensive lost fight for the Spark.
They get torn apart here. The Fusion are going to be able to clean them up. MM3 gets to keep that overclock. And the way that they were able to push back the Spark when they literally used everything. Yeah, they're going to have the Blade coming up, and we're going to see some swaps. Neko going over to the Brig. But that was the Spark trying to actually contest with the overclock themselves. Immediately getting shut down. Here comes the Seesaw once again. The Fusion, though, coming up with a little bit more of that success, but they can't get past that bridge where you see the Spark holding onto the high ground with a quick pause, though, coming in. Not too sure inside of who right now, but looks like we are just going to get that quick pause to help out and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, probably going to be like a mouse issue or something. It always happens quite a lot in these series, but see what happens when we get back to it to take stock of the state of the game. Said MN3's overclock available as an option for Philly Fusion. They do have a marginal lead, only about 20 meters. The bot hasn't really pushed these blockades very far at all this entire series, this entire map, sorry. And we are getting into the latter half of it, and at the moment Fusion do have the lead in the map, and they're very good at keeping these fights done. I don't feel like there has been a concrete, decisive fight since the first one that was won out, and that's probably why it's not been able to travel so far, Vicky, because it's just a continuous brawl, a cycle of players coming in from their spawn rooms repeatedly. That comes in a little bit of an ebb and flow, but it doesn't truly end, which is why we're seeing such a kind of muted game if you were to check the progress. 4 minutes 43 left on the clock as well for you. We'll see if we get an update on the reason for the pause, but at the moment I imagine it's just going to be a technical issue on the hardware.
Yeah, and just looking at where the teams are sitting at right now and looking at the wind condition for the Spark, they're about to get the Nano Blade online soon for both Alpha Yi and Teru. They're just racking up enough of that percentage so that way they could pull the trigger on that. But that is what they're going to have to rely on, and it does trickle down to if they can negate the healing that Fix is going to put down with the sound barrier that he's also about to get. Also, depending on the initial pick that MM3 manages to position themselves for when they're trying to cross through that underpass where the bridge is, the Spark have been doing a really good job at preventing the Fusion from kind of splitting up their attention from either going into the high ground and then focusing on the low ground, but they've been preventing them from even getting there originally. So I like the way that the Fusion are approaching this, but Gushue has been doing a really good job at splitting that attention where they haven't really made that decisive factor of whether they want to continue going through the underpass or not.
Yeah, we need to find a route for them to do that. Like, I mean, also the fights are happening in multiple places around this area, right? So we have the main line that follows for the objective, but a lot of these fights are being taken off into the dead center of the map, outside of that tunnel, and like there's flanking angles that are constantly being put under. You see the amount of times that AimGod thinks they're safe, and then you just see someone come on the flank. There's 3 people in his face who completely circumvented the main fight and to pick off the back line. Keeps happening quite a lot in these ones. And then you have to be worried about, is Shy or MM3 going to blow your head off with a railgun out of nowhere as well? There's so much threat at the moment for supports, I feel like, on this map, that Neko actually having the Brigitte is going to provide an element of safety for them, which is not found by Fixer, I feel.
Yeah, that and Teru's also been doing a really good job at contesting Zest as well, just getting away from Zest whenever he can. Obviously, Zest moving in with Fury, bubbling him at the same time to build up their own damage is important here, but when Teru's the one putting you to sleep before you even have an opportunity to take a shot, before that bubble can even get put down to you, it can be a little bit of a nuisance to be able to close in that gap. So then the Spark also have Alpha Yi to help peel for Teru in situations like that, and then to try to also split that attention to MM3, but that is what Fusion want to happen. They want to be able to have that split attention onto Zest. Meanwhile, right behind you, you're getting domed by MM3 because there's these open sight lines in Colossia that allow MM3 to actually excel.
Yeah, so what we need to see here is a decisive fight win ultimately to really swing it open. It can still be blown wide open either way at this point. No one has a substantial advantage over the other. You got 36 meters to 12 meters. Philadelphia Fusion look more set up at the moment to be able to take this fight. Shy so far removed from the fight at the moment, just getting back or taking a long angle. We're going to go to a quick break though. When we come back, we'll give you an update where we are with the state of the map, and also we'll be back from the pause.
Welcome back, everyone. That was quick. Thanks so much for sticking with us. We just had a word that one of the players, unfortunately, their PC had shut down, so they just wanted to load in as quickly as possible, and it looks like we are actually getting to do that right now.
Yeah, hopefully getting back into the game nice and quickly. Just give you a reminder, if you're just joining us now, we are currently 2-1 in favor of Philadelphia Fusion. Match point on Colosseo. We're about over 5 minutes into the map out of the 10-minute available time bank, and really can still go either way. No one's got an insurmountable lead. 36 meters in favor of the Fusion, 12 in favor of the Spark. Fusion is setting up nicely for a fight. They've got a good couple of ultimates coming online, but we're looking towards a Nano Blade from Alpha Yi and Teru potentially to be that decisive fight winner that enables the Spark to take the lead and light a fire under the Fusion, who are currently marginally leading in this map.
which would kind of fit the mood of how the series has been playing out. A lot of these individual fights that we have seen go throughout the last few maps have been very back and forth between both these teams. So that one win condition that you were noting, Trid, will be the highlight here for the Spark to actually get ahead of the Fusion in their progress right now. Again, at 36.31 meters compared to 12. We've been seeing a bit of a skirmish, but like you also mentioned before the break, there hasn't been that one breakthrough fight. We're going to dive right into the action right away. Going to highlight once again, look at those ult charges that we're seeing from Tero and Alpha Yi. You're about to get the blade. You have MN3 already with the overclock ready if he wants to utilize that and fix it to try to negate a lot of that damage that that blade is going to put down.
Be important, don't get picked by Shy in the chaos. If you go down, it's going to be too bad. Look at the angle Alpha Yi's taking to try and do this. Finding that path with the blade. Needs to stay in sight line of Teru. Whereas he won't get the nano boost, and he won't be able to really slice through the back line. Looking from his position right now. There's the overclock coming in from MN3. Blade available. Beat being brought out. He's going to wait it out.
Oh.
No.
Oh no, he couldn't get anything started there. He was just trying to be patient, trying to wait to have the opportunity to get shut down immediately, and so does Shy. Here comes Zest though, not only with the momentum on his side, but cleaning up these picks off from the Spark one by one as they fall into the chicken bowl here. You're gonna see he's got the Death Blossom ready, and they're gonna be able to have no issue with the progress on this push bot. Look at that, that was that one fight. That one win condition that the Spark needed disappeared before their eyes, and now look at the progress that the Fusion were able to get.
While this is going on, you can see a quick replay. That's just pressing W and M1. Takes out Neko, turns the attention round to Shy. Bit of a raid boss to deny all that support that a Genji would have needed. First checkpoint being claimed here by the Philly Fusion. They get the forward spawns, and Zest is still destroying the Spark as they try and shut this down. Now it's very difficult for the Spark. They have to claim so much territory away from the Fusion if they want to have a chance at winning. There's a big combination lined up with the Graviton Surge and the Death Blossom ready for Zest and Fury to use in this next fight. But they're going to use it without. Nice bobble over, finds Teru. And the Spark, they can't find a footing. They just keep getting disintegrated, losing bodies all over the field. Alpha Yi went for a back cap, I believe. I think Gushway's also there. But they just keep getting mullered all the same. Zest can just camp out where he needs to as the Winston flies ungracefully for the sky.
Quick little hello in the spawn room doors as well here. Trid Zest is having fun. He's been enjoying taking this matchup over to Alpha Yi, by the way, who has to absolutely respect Zest being on this Reaper, obviously. Curses all understand the matchup here, and the Neku going down here, unfortunately, too. Fury going to be able to find him as Zest gets put to sleep. They finally take care of him. It's going to be Shy that finds two. He's going to be able to help out the Spark finally. Even with that anti up the Gushway and Alpha Yi, he gets taken down. But this is the opening that Spark need. Even with some of those few picks, though, it's MM3 on the other side of the sideline that's going to be able to melt down the rest of the team.
Look, Fusion have done enough at this point, Vicky. It's going to be so difficult for the Spark to be able to surpass the meterage that they've already put on the board. One kill the other way. Fusion could have been looking at actually full capping Colosseo. That's how much progress they managed to dig in. Spark have a couple of tools. They're going to have to cycle through them in the next fight. This is going to be about consistent fight wins from here on out for the Spark. Otherwise, they may as well write off this series now.
There you go, Nano Boost onto Zest right now, Trid. You see the anti onto Zest. He's going to just rake right out of it. It doesn't matter to him anymore. He's going to be able to keep melting them down with Fury helping him out too, boosting up some more of that damage himself. Here comes a sound barrier from the rest of Fusion. It's supposed to be the nail in the coffin. Yes, Shy finds Zest again, but it's the Fusion and their survivability and the numbers on their side. They're starting to see some trades with that pulse bomb. MN3 also taking a quick nap, but the push bot is still moving along.
It's going to keep dragging it forward. Reinforcements will be coming in from the forward spawns, but of course Spark will get there closer. As I mentioned, Fusion don't need to push it any further. They just need to deny the Spark from being able to make any progress of their own. Zest is hiding. Look at him on the minimap. He's waiting for Spark to move in here. He's going to sneak up behind him and just absolutely dismantle them. They need to be aware of this because they can spell disaster. There's only 30 seconds remaining, Vicky, and they don't know.
No,
they don't know!
No! You flail him away, but it doesn't matter. You got aim, gotta cover your back. Your shield can only point in one direction. Unfortunately, yes, Alpha E gets aim god, but that was absolutely huge from Zest. The backline destroyed from the Spark. In this desperate time, you have less than 10 seconds on the clock, and look at this progress that Fusion have made. You're going to be forced to play the entire time on this bot if you even win this next fight.
Nice slide away there, keeps them in free alive. Can't go down here at a crucial moment. Fury has the Graviton Surge. He can really mess up the Spark to any hope of cohesive defense if they get challenged on this bot. Moving it back to just behind the halfway point. Shy probably wants these sightlines in that tunnel before having to pop the overclock, but gets the elimination on Zest. He goes for it anyway. Fury's been anti, bubbles to cleanse himself. Turns the attention into the tunnel. Graviton Surge gets shut down by Aim God, but they're still on the point. Gujue holding strong. Here's now MM3's overclock. Just shoot straight through the massive monkey that's in front of him. Doesn't need to aim anywhere else because that railgun can go straight through a Winston when overclock is in effect. Need to clear him out before reinforcements come in. Overtime's ticked down long enough. This should be quite fast. And the Philly Fusion will claim victory over the Spark. 3-1 scoreline, ending it on Colosseo.
Let's highlight Aim God and Fix at the very end. They're staying alive and cleaning up everybody that was caught up in that grab too. Absolutely chef's kiss at the very end, getting that nano boost as well onto MM3 to clean up the rest of the Spark. Again, it was going back and forth for quite some time, despite what the scoreboard says. It was going back and forth at the very beginning here on this map too. Shy managed to claim Zest, so they don't have to worry about the close quarter battle, but still Trid, the very end, the Fusion all together, especially that backline was able to pop off.
Yeah, and I know we only came in for 2 of the 4 maps we saw, but he was such an impact player in this series. The player of the match going to Fury this time around. The Zarya just so oppressive on both Kings Row and Colosseo. Kings Row in particular being a standout performance for them today.
We loved it. We loved being able to see that Grav actually take care of Gujue. That's whenever you want to not only counter the Primal, but you want to be able to just deal with all that extra damage that would come from that reset originally. I love the way that they were able to keep the grab, the sleep on top of that, and everything to actually prevent that composition from having the success that the Spark wanted to have on Kings Row. But now moving on here to the very final map where we got to see Fury play the Zarya again, it was still more of that impact, that follow, that allowed Zest to play the Reaper to the full potential that we saw Zest really pop off in. Of course, as well as that extra damage that Fury was able to get in this match as Zarya.
Yeah, big performance from Fury on this one. I love the poses the players are doing since we redid some of the player photos. Fantastic work there by the Fusion. But no, hopefully that satisfies Mr. Avril on the sidelines with his super serious power rankings he put out on Twitter. Victory here for the Fusion should see him climb up a few in the ranks and see how they go on the standings as we move into the subsequent weeks of the Countdown Cup qualifiers. But that's it, Vicky. I mean, that's where we're at right now. Weeks 1 down for APAC. Questions about the Shanghai Dragons. LA Valiant have got a good read on what's happening currently. Seoul Dynasty are the #1 team at present, I still believe. But